Renewable energy sources. What's the big idea? Are they good? Are they bad? I don't know. We're going to find out today. Renewable energy sources have become increasingly important in our quest for a sustainable future due to the downsides of fossil fuels, which is our current main source of energy, from greenhouse gas emissions, which contribute to climate change, air pollution, and all of this negative effects our health, well, affects our health negatively. Um, it's clear that we need to transition to like a cleaner, more sustainable energy source. Today, I want to explore those different types of renewable energies, from the commonly known ones to the lesser known ones. So let's start with the classic, solar power. Solar power harnesses the power from the sun. Uh, it does this with the photovoltaic panels. Solar panels work by harnessing the photovoltaic effect. This process occurs when photons from sunlight knock electrons loose from their atoms, allowing them to flow through the material and generate an electric charge. That's all electricity is a flow of electrons. Then we have things like wind energy. You can think of these like wind turbines, uses kinetic energy or the movement of those giant turbines to spin the coil of wire around the magnet. This is how electric generators work, very simple. Hydropower has the same concept of the wind turbines, except with flowing water. And there are also like lesser known renewable energies, like geothermal energy, which uses the heat generated by the core of the earth. And also biomass energy. I didn't even know that existed, but essentially it's just taking organic material that builds up naturally and then I believe burning it, kind of like you do coal or whatever. But I won't be going too deep into biomass energy because I have no, like, I don't know what that is, to be honest. I didn't like learn. I learned about it today. I didn't know it was a thing. Um, but yeah, what's the big idea? What's up with these renewable energies, and why do we see them as important? Well, it all comes down to reusability, which is why we have the term renewable energy, to renew. Fossil fuels, more than just being bad for the environment, are also non-renewable, or rather more specifically, are created in a time span far more than the human requirement, often taking millions of years for the geological process to occur to convert the organic matter into fossil fuel. Renewable energies, on the other hand, can either do one of two things, or perhaps even both. They can capture energy from a constant source, like sun always emits sunlight, or they are created from materials which can renew on a much faster timetable. You can think of these like the biomass, because you can create organic matter much faster than you can convert organic matter into fossil fuels. So that's kind of why we use like the term renewable. Either it's constant flowing or can be recreated super easily. Uh, Now, it's not just about capturing this energy. We need to understand how the renewable energy systems are incorporated to the power grid, because that's kind of a big issue that we've kind of been facing. It's important to note that the integration of renewable energy systems into these power grids often require upgrades and modifications to accommodate the variability of intermittency of the renewable energies. This is an issue we'll talk about later, but to understand that, we need to understand how the power grid works first. We'll speak in terms of the renewable energies, how we would connect it to these power grids. So what happened is the renewable energies, like solar power or wind turbines, need to first capture the energy, obviously, and convert it to electricity. Once it has electricity, it needs to be switched into AC if it's not already. From the AC, they need to be they need to go through a transformer so their voltage is stepped up. And then from there, you can go into transition lines, also known as the power grids, and that transfers the electricity over long distances to whatever location they need to be. Then once it reaches its desired location, it goes to a distribution substation where the voltage is lowered to 120 volts if you're in America, because that's kind of what our home outlets use. And then through the distribution lines, which connect to things like houses and stores, it goes to the distribution lines to the house that it needs to work at, and that's how we get electricity in our homes. Very simple process, not that simple, but we explained it very simply. All this is possible due to grid management, and grid management is basically electricity flows more during the day, since obviously more people are using electricity during the day, since that's when everyone's awake, and not as much at nighttime. It's a clear issue of supply and demand. When is it most needed? When is it not most needed? Very simple. While we're on the topic of energy, it's important to address nuclear power. Although not classified as a renewable energy, nuclear energy has its own set of benefits. And by nuclear energy, we're talking about not fusion, since that's not really a thing that works yet. We're going to talk about nuclear fission, nuclear reactors. That's kind of like the main gist. A lot of people use it, a lot of countries use it. America and France, for example. Nuclear fission, it's a low carbon energy source that can generate large amounts of electricity reliably. There's no intermittency. However, it's important to note that nuclear energy relies on a finite source of uranium, which makes it different from renewable energy, since obviously uranium has a long time span and before it's renewed. It's a great use for power with more benefits than that of fossil fuel. And the waste that nuclear energy creates, it creates waste, obviously. 90% of that waste actually still contains potential energy, which can still be reused and renewed, and you can waste up that nuclear energy as well. France has the largest share in this area. About 70% of France's power actually comes from nuclear power, including that they also recycle the waste created from these nuclear power plants. So all that being said, there are obviously disadvantages to renewable energies. Whether or not these disadvantages are the reasons as a society we still haven't switched, I'm not really sure, but also I don't really care for the purposes of this video. Many renewable energy sources such as solar power and wind are intermittent sources, which basically means they rely on weather conditions and natural variations, which can result in fluctuations of energy production. For example, it's not always sunny out, so solar panels can't collect sunlight. It's not always windy out, so wind turbines aren't always spinning. And that's kind of a problem because we kind of want electricity at all times of the day, whenever we want it, even at night. We don't want gaps of time between like when we can have our power and when we can't, since the variability of the supply and demand chains are very variable. Some renewable energy technologies, such as large-scale solar winds and farms, solar and wind farms, may require significant amounts of land to generate substantial electricity. Additionally, certain renewable energy technologies rely on specific resources that may be limited to a geographical location, such as rare earth minerals used in wind turbines manufacturing. While renewable energy sources are generally cleaner than fossil fuels, in terms of greenhouse gas emissions, they can still have large environment impacts. For example, large hydropower projects can result in habitat loss, alterations of ecosystems, and displacement of communities. There's also issues of with the wind turbines killing a lot of birds, and obviously the solar winds will also change ecosystems just as much as hydropower will. The upfront cost of implementing these renewable energy systems are also currently pretty high. Integrating the high levels of renewable energy into the existing power grids can be complex. As we mentioned earlier, there's a lot of upgrades and modifications that are required to be built into the current infrastructure that we already have for these power grids to make them usable, and also to accommodate the variability, because sometimes one renewable energy source wouldn't be supplying power, and we need to take that into account and probably rely on another form of renewable energy. That's just an example. There are a lot of other issues. Some renewable energy projects face opposition from local communities due to concerns about visual impacts, noise, or any other number of potential disruptions. But there's always an exciting part, always an uplifting part to this. Technology is obviously constantly evolving to address the downsides of renewable energies. The development of efficient and cost-effective energy storage technologies, such as batteries, allows for better integration with the grid, reliable power supply during low generation periods, and increased flexibility. So having the having the renewable farms, solar farms, generate more power than is required, and then having them saved into batteries. And then when it's nighttime or something, the power grid can draw energy from those batteries to power the system, to power whatever city is needed at that time. Smart grids, which are like power grids but smart, like a smart TV. Advanced forecasting techniques and demand response programs help optimize energy distribution, balance supply and demand, and ensure grid stability. Research and development efforts are focused on improving the efficiency and cost effectiveness of these renewable technologies, as well as governments around the world are implementing policies and providing incentives to promote the adoption of renewable energies. These include feed-in tariffs, tax credits, renewable portfolio standards, and carbon pricing mechanisms. Such measures aim to make renewable energy more financially attractive and competitive with fossil fuels. Global initiatives and collaborations are fostering research, knowledge sharing, and investment in renewable energy. Countries are coming together to develop joint projects, exchange best practices, and accelerate the deployment of renewable technologies on a larger scale. The cost of renewable energy technologies have been steadily declining over the years. While challenges remain, the combined efforts of our technological innovation, policy support, and public demand for cleaner energy sources contribute to a promising future for renewable energies. With sustained investment and commitment, they have a potential to surpass fossil fuels as the primary source of global energy generation. Obviously, it's going to take a little while. We're not quite there yet, but it's always good to be optimistic in situations like this, especially if it means a better environment and a better sustainability for the planet. In conclusion, renewable energies offers us amazing benefits for a cleaner planet and more secure energy future. While nuclear energy is not renewable, it can play a role in transitioning away from fossil fuels, whether that be in the meantime filling in for those intermittency issues that renewable energy sources can't supply at those times. But that's just an idea. I'm very hopeful, maybe stupidly so, but it's my opinion. It's my opinion, you know what I mean? Anyways, thank y'all for watching. I appreciate you. If you made it this far, that's goated. That's goated. Thank you. Making videos, finished with college. That's not true. I mean, I did finish my exams. We did pretty good. I'll admit it. It was a clutch up. But yeah, we're gonna be busy this summer too, unfortunately. So, if you enjoyed the video though, don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'll catch y'all later. Peace out.